The Egyptians as we know them today are not the ones that built the Sphinx and the pyramids. As a geologist, the Sphinx and the pyramids, the stones are showing erosion. That is called fluvial erosion, which means fast amounts of water over long periods of time. Not aeolian erosion, which means wind. They had believed that all that erosion was from wind. Robert Schoch, Boston University, concluded with John Anthony West. I used to know John before he died. It was a lot of fun. He was a good man. Had a hard time in Egypt. But it was during that time, it's in the early 90s. The only time they've had that kind of running water in Egypt was at the melting of the last ice, which puts this around 12,000 BP before present. And that means the Egyptians as we know them today are not the ones that built the Sphinx and the pyramids. And geology, they published this AAPG, American Association of Petroleum Geologists. They published, geologists said, hey, what's the problem? I mean, the data's right there. Of course, it's water. The historians have a horrible time. They said, oh my God, it can't be 12,500 years because that messes up, the whole timeline. And so they're struggling with that today.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad to another edification through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Alright, so first and foremost, Kal Halayam La Alahayanawa Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Akah Kodash Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai. Alright, so double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives on the freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat, which is the sisters that listening and learning. Alright, so the title of this edification is just admit it, Esau. Alright, just admit it. Alright, just go ahead and admit it. Alright. Okay, as you can see in the clip there with the historian, that historian there, I don't know his name. I don't know his name. I just happened to saw this, and I decided to share it on my Facebook page, to you keep it as material, for edification. Alright, but as you could hear him mentioning, that the people that is in Egypt now, alright, they surely couldn't have been the people that had built the Sphinx, the Sphinx, the pyramids, and whatnot, so forth. Alright, they surely couldn't have been those people. Alright, and the thing is, he's speaking that part there, he's speaking truth, but the thing is, we want the full truth. Who built it? Alright, who built it? Who was responsible for the building of it? Alright, now people will think is they will think it's the Egyptians, but it's not the Egyptians. They did not do the physical work on the building of these great monuments, the what do call it again, the pyramids and the Sphinx and whatnot, so forth. Right? It was the children of Israel, alright, during their 400-year slavery, their 400-year captivity under the Egyptians. Alright, so basically is we built it. Alright, we built it. But reason for this lesson, is proven of something. Alright, is proven of something more and more, as the scripture said, pursuant and I go to the Old Testament, which is Psalms 85 and 11. Psalms 85 and 11, where it reads, truth shall spring out of the earth, alright, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. All right. So this is the situation here. That the Lord is bringing out the truth. More and more and more. Okay. Now, the reason why I say just admit it is not only who built it, all right, but also who are the true Egyptians. All right. What did the true Egyptians look like? All right. Their skin tone, their body structure, the texture of their hair and whatnot, so forth. Who were those people that that are the Egyptians of antiquity? All right, the Egyptians of antiquity. Who are they? Okay, because we know for a fact, due to history and what have you, so forth, that these people that are in the land of Egypt, just as the people the people in the land of Israel, who are not true people of the land. All right, those people there in the land of Egypt right now, they are not the true people of the land. All right, and when you look at the Sphinx, when you look at a lot of these, when you look at these things, with these ancient pharaohs and what have you, so forth, when you look at the depiction of their facial structure, all right, and you look at the Egyptians of today, you will see that it is two totally different image, all right, so to speak, because when the Egyptians that is in the land there now, they do not have the negroid features. Let's just put it that way, all right? They do not have the negroid features that is depicted on the Sphinx, all right? That it was so evident that when this guy, what's his name? This French ruler, this military man, Napoleon Bonaparte. All right, when he had rolled into Egypt and he had came into Egypt and what have you, so forth, and he saw the Sphinx and whatnot, and saw that the evidence was too damning, that he had blown off the lips and the nose and whatnot, so forth, off of the Sphinx and what have you, so forth, all right, to hide the true identity of the people of Egypt. All right, because what you have to understand, just as Israel, not just only Israel, but during the Renaissance period, and what have you, so forth, Egypt also, they had went through a time period of iconoclasm. All right, let's see if we could get that, and we could get into the scriptures too. We will get into the scriptures, but how to make certain talking points. So let's go to all right, so iconoclasm, where it reads the action of attacking or assertively rejecting cherished beliefs and institutions or established values and practices. Okay, the rejection or destruction of religious images as heretical, the doctrine of iconoclast. So basically, is what is whitewashing. All right, so where they reject, the artifacts and all these things of antiquity, all right, which is original, all right, and they sought to do what? They sought to paint over images and what have you, so forth. All right, these are things that they had done throughout Europe, all right, during the Renaissance period and what have you, so forth. But again, there's nothing new under the sun. All right, these are things that they was doing all the way back. Okay, all the way back then. All right, even before the Messiah came onto the scene. All right, there is what it is. So when you go to, let's go to the scriptures. Let's go to the scriptures. Let's start with Genesis chapter 10. All right. Genesis chapter 10 and verse 6. All right. It says here, the descendant of Ham. Bear with me. All right. So when I take a look at Genesis chapter 10 and 6, pursuant to the descendants of Ham, all right, where it reads, and the sons of Ham, Cush and Mitzrayim and Put and Canaan. All right, these were the sons of Ham. And the sons of Cush. All right, now, Salakia, before I even go down to verse 7, let's establish a point. Although, from time to time I already established it, but for edification's sake. All right, for edification's sake. So, Cush.
Strong's H3568. Cush.
All right, so Cush, which means black. All right, black or dark. All right, the son of Ham and grandson of Noah, and the progenitor of the southernmost peoples located in Africa. The peoples descended from Cush. All right, the land occupied by the descendants of Cush located around the southern parts of the Nile, Ethiopia. So we see in here, we get any point here that is being established, all right, that the people of Ham, all right, the people of Ham are the originators of the land where you now know today as Africa, but is actually the land of Ham, all right, and Cush, all right, which means dark. So it's showing you that, all right, the Cushites are a people of color. All right, so when you go to Mitzrayim or Matazarayam, all right,
Strong's H4714. Mitzrayim.
all right, Mitzrayim, the talking point of this edification here, or Matazarayam. All right, Mitzrayim or Matazarayam in the Paleo Hebrew, it says land of the cups, a country of the northeastern section of Africa, all right, of Africa, adjacent to Palestine, all right, Palestine, which we know today as in Palestine, which was actually known back then as Philistine, all right, but it was changed to Palestine when the Grecians, they came into power, all right, after Alexander and what have you so forth, after the death of Alexander, where his kingdom was split up and what have you so forth, all right, there is where the name came in, all right, and it says adjacent to Palestine and through which the Nile flows, Egyptians double streets, the inhabitants or natives of Egypt, all right. So we see in here that the Egyptians, all right, they are Africans, all right, so-called Africans, all right, they are the lineage of Ham, okay, they are the lineage of Ham. So now this is what you had a thing here, all right, because the people of Egypt today, they consider themselves descendants of Ishmael. All right, a matter of fact, not just consider, but they know they are the descendants of Ishmael. All right, they speak it out proudly that they are the descendants of Ishmael. Now, Ishmael, all right, was who? Ishmael was the first son of Abraham. All right, back then he was called Abram. Abraham was called Abram. All right, and Ishmael was the first son of Abraham before Isaac came on the scene. So if those Egyptians today consider themselves or know that they are descendants of Ishmael, then how could they be the people of how could they claim How could they claim upon themselves to be the Egyptians of antiquity when the Egyptians of antiquity came from the lineage of Ham? Make that make sense. All right, make that make sense. That is why I say, that is why I titled it Just Admitted Esau, because you see, that guy, he knows that he knows that these people are not the true Egyptians, and they are not responsible for building the Sphinx and the pyramids and whatnot, so forth. Okay, but at the same time, you're not coming full 100 and admitting to who are the true Egyptians, number one, and that who was responsible. Who are the architects? Who are the ones that put up that actually build the structure of the Sphinx and the pyramids and all these things? All right. When they go to put, all right.
Strong's H 6316. Put.
All right. Put. All right. A nation and people of North Africa, probably the Libyans. All right. So we see in here, all right, and watch this, and we just go down to Canaan.
Strong's H 3667. Canaan.
All right. Okay. So it says here, Canaan, lowland, the fourth son of Ham, and the progenitor of the Phoenicians. All right, and of the various nations who peopled the seacoast of Palestine. All right, the land west of Jordan, peopled by the descendants of Canaan and subsequently conquered by the Israelites under Joshua. All right, so this is what it is here. All right, this is what it is here. So we see in here that these people, that these men that brought forth a progeny, that they are Hamites. All right. Now, coming out of this, let's come out of that. All right. Coming out of that, let's look at their descendants. Now, verse 7, it says what? Genesis 10 and 7, and the sons of Cush, Sheba, and Havilah, and Sapta, and Ramah, and Sapteka, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. All right. These are the descendants of Cush. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Iraq, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar, which is modern day Iraq. All right, so these Hamites, they had taken over the land of Africa itself, and West Asia, going from Palestine, going all the way up to Iran and Iraq and what have you, so forth. All right, it says, out of that land went forth Asher and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth and Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and Calah, the same is a great city. Now watch this. And Mitzrayim, which is the so-called, which is the Egyptians, so-called, all right, Mitzrayim, all right, not the Egyptians of today that you're seeing today, okay. And Mitzrayim begat Ludim, and Anamim, Salakia, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Kasluhim, out of whom came Philistine, all right, or the Philistines. Now the Philistines, all right, they were so-called Egyptians and were descendants of Mitzrayim, all right. They were Hamites, and there's a reason why I commented this. There's a reason why I'm doing this here, because I'm going to go into certain things here, all right, to prove certain points, okay. And Kaphturim, and Canaan begat Sidon, the Canaan which is the fourth born, all right, and Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Het. and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad, and the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gera unto Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. These are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries and in their nations. All right, so this is the situation here. Okay, now the people of Put, along with the Egyptians, all right, they are not the original people of the land that is seen there today. Okay, the true Egyptians are the who you know today as the people of Sudan. All right, Sudan and South Sudan, they are the true Egyptians. Likewise, the true Puttites are the people of Somalia. All right, for the most case, right, majority. All right, they are the true Egyptians and true Libyans, Mitzrayim and Put, respectively. This is what it is. Okay, these people are the true people of the land. All right, and as we could see that their dwelling place, all right, their dwelling place is in the land of Africa. All right, well, we are known today as Africa, but is actually the land of Ham. All right, now the point where I'm trying to get at, pursuant to what these people that are there now, all right, it all started with the so-called Grecians, all right, Alexander boys and them, all right, the four generals and what have you, so forth. Because what you have to understand, even though when you go back to the book of Jeremiah, all right, when you go back to the book of Jeremiah and you read of the conquering of Egypt, that the Pharaoh at the time was Pharaoh Necho. You all could go and do your own research, you young brothers and sisters could go and do your own research, all right, go and fact check, all right. Pharaoh Necho was the a matter of fact, you know something, let's look it up here. Let me see if we could find something here. All I know is Pharaoh Necho, but still, let's cross reference. All right, who was the Pharaoh? Who was the Pharaoh at the time of the Babylon. Alright, let's see, Babylonian conquest, I was put, right? Alright, so let's see this here. It says the Pharaoh during the Babylonian conquest of Judah, including the destruction of Jerusalem, was Hophra, Apries. Let me see something. Let me see something here. All right, so good. So because you had to go back because those days. So you see, I was on point. It was Neku. Right? Because those days the years used to count backward, not like how it's counting forward now. All right, but as you could see here, the 26th dynasty. All right, it was Neku. All right, he was the man. He was the pharaoh at the time, Pharaoh Neku. All right. All right, Pharaoh Neku the second. All right. All right. Pharaoh Neku the second. He was the man. All right, and then Passam Tik the first. These men come afterwards, during the captivity itself. All right, during the rulership of the Babylonians. But the point where I'm coming at, all right, the point where I'm coming at is that although the Babylonians, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which was actually they were Assyrians, although they had conquered Egypt, all right, because Nebuchadnezzar he was on a conquest, all right. Although they had conquered Egypt, Egypt still was not whitewashed. All right. Now Egypt, they never catch themselves. They never catch back themselves as a powerhouse, or how we just call them in this time in here now, a superpower. All right. They never catch back themselves to come back to that superpower status. All right. Because after the Babylonians, the Neo-Babylonian Empire was the Middle Persians. But even during those two empires, all right, the artifacts and all these things, the people of Egypt, they were still there, and the artifacts and all these things were still there. It was not whitewashed. It was only whitewash started came into Egypt. All right, whitewash started came into Egypt when Ptolemy. All right, when Ptolemy. Let's go to that. Let's go to a bit of history here. All right, which is First Maccabees. Okay, First Maccabees chapter 1. First Maccabees chapter 1 and 16. First Maccabees 1 and 16. All right. A matter of fact, let me start from 1 and then I would to get a point here, and then we would jump down. All right. So First Maccabees 1 and 1, and it happened after that Alexander, all right, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, which is modern-day Cyprus, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. All right, which means he was the first so-called white man to reign over Greece. All right, this is when the Edomites finally came into power. All right, according to prophecy, pursuant to Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 2, and Daniel chapter 7. All right, so it says here, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries, and nations, and kings, who became tributaries after him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. All right, so he had split up his kingdom between his 4 generals. All right, now one of his generals, all right, was Ptolemy. Okay, was Ptolemy. Now, Ptolemy, he had Egypt. All right, he had the dominion over Egypt. Now, when I read here from verse 16, when I jump down to verse 16, it reads, now Antiochus, pursuant to verse, in this very said scripture, all right, pursuant to 10, all right, that wicked root, verse 10, all right, Antiochus Epiphanes, all right, he was son of Antiochus the king, all right, but when I jump down here to verse 16, it reads, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Greece that he might have dominion of 2 realms. All right, because Ptolemy, he was ruling in Egypt. All right, after the death of Alexander and whatever, and the kingdom was split up, he gotten his lot, which was Egypt. All right, wherefore he entered into Egypt, that was Antiochus. All right, he went to war against Ptolemy to depose Ptolemy and take over Egypt. All right, with a great multitude of chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. All right, so Ptolemy was the man to start the iconoclasm within Egypt, the whitewashing of Egypt. Ptolemy was the man responsible for it. All right, Ptolemy was the man responsible for it. The whitewashing of Egypt. All right, that's why now the people of Egypt, which I'm going to go a little more into this here, give a little more information here. The people of Egypt are not just only Edomites, but also a mixture. It's a mixture of Edomites and Arabs, because you have to remember the Mohammedan conquest, all right, and the Mohammedan conquest was, it had transcended throughout the so-called Middle East, which is West Asia, all the way into North Africa and places in like Portugal, Spain, within Europe, and what have you, so forth. All right, so Islam started to come on the scene. All right, Islam started to come on the scene, because how many years? I think it was 600 years after Yahushua died. That is when Muhammad came on the scene. All right, and Islam started to reign. Islam started to come about on the scene and whatnot, so forth, and there's where you get, so these Arabs, all right, but for the most part, all right, the Egyptians, well, throughout the whole of North Africa, from Egypt to Tunisia, to Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, Morocco, what have you, so forth, if I'm missing out any other North African nation, these people that are there are a mixture of Ottoman Turks, all right, Ottoman Turks of the Ottoman Empire, which is actually Edomites, Edomites also that date all the way back to the days of Alexander, all right, and Ishmaelites, all right, but we're dealing with Egypt, okay, and these people, they are not responsible for the Sphinx, all right. They are not responsible for these things. These people that are in the land there now. Okay? Now, when I go back, because it's very simple. It's very, very simple. Exodus chapter 2, is it? Let me see, from 1, I believe it's from 4. No, Exodus chapter 1, actually. Exodus chapter 1. And I will start from 6, Exodus 1 and 6, where it reads, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and that generation. All right, Joseph was one of the 12 sons, all right, of Jacob, all right, and he was, he remember he was sold into slavery by his own brothers and what have you, so forth, so forth. He was sold to the Arabians, and the Arabians, they sold him unto the Egyptians. All right, so it says here, and Joseph died and all his brethren, and that generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. All right, and that was Ramses. All right, Pharaoh Ramses. All right, and he said unto his people, his fellow Egyptians, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more mighty than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it came to pass that when there falleth out any war, they joined also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, all right, Pithom and Ramses. So we were the ones that were responsible for building the pyramids and the Sphinx and what have you, so forth. Not even the Egyptians, the true Egyptians themselves. All right, we were the ones that built it. All right, they were the ones that enslaved us. All right, and put us under forced labor to build those things. But the fact, what I'm getting at is that I know where that man is coming from, but he is not speaking the full truth. All right, he is not speaking the full truth. That is the point we are trying to establish and bring across. He is not speaking the full truth, as pursuant to who the people of the antiquity of the people. Who are the true people? Now he's talking about the Sphinx and the erosion and whatnot, so forth. I have no knowledge of that. I am not no geologist and there's a next one. There's a next name, for these people who does, I think it's archaeology, I believe. All right, who does deal with those things, digging up artifact and putting a timeline as to when this artifact was made and this and that and the other. I know nothing about that really too much, all right, or if any at all. So I cannot speak on that. I will not speak on that. But as pertaining to the antiquity of the people, all right, who are the true people and whatnot, so forth, that I could surely speak on. All right, that I could surely and well speak on. All right, now this is the thing. Because not just those people, not just those people over in the land, it will. I should say that not just them, but when I say the land, I'm speaking about Egypt, but also they also in our homeland Israel. All right, they are all in the whole conspiracy. All right, pursuing. They are all guilty, within the whole conspiracy of pursuing to the covering cast over the people. Now, let's take a look back. I will stay here. I don't need to go back to the blue letter for now. Let's take a look back at Genesis chapter 10, right? And we're going back to the descendant of a matter of fact, I would have to go back to the blue letter. All right. Let's go back to the descendants of Mitzrayim, but really Philistine. All right. But really Philistine.
Strong's H 6430. Pelishti.
All right, Pelishti. It says immigrants All right, immigrants. It means immigrants because they, the their true land supposed to be Mitzrayim because they are the descendants of Mitzrayim, but they were dwelling in the land of Canaan. All right, they were dwelling in the land of Canaan, which you know today as Israel. All right, which the name was changed to Israel or Yasharala. All right, so it says here an inhabitant of Philistia, descendants of Mitzrayim, who immigrated from Kaftor or Crete to the western seacoast of Canaan. All right, to the western seacoast of Canaan. All right, Philistine. Let me see something here. All right, good. Philistine, land of the sojourners. All right, or Philistia, land of the sojourners, the general territory of the west coast of Canaan or the entire country of Palestine. All right, because Palestine, it's so tongue twisting. The Philistine, all right, that was changed to Palestine when the so-called white man came into power. All right, by the Grecians. Okay. Okay, no, I don't need to think that. So, all right. So we see in there that the Philistines, all right, are descendants of Mitzrayim or Matazarayam, the true Egyptians, which were so-called black people. All right. But this is the thing here. When you watch Hollywood movies, all right. When you watch Hollywood movies, let me see something here. Let's come to this here. When you watch Hollywood movies, right? Like for instance, I ain't gonna read that whole chapter. I will just read a piece which is 1 Samuel 17, pursuant to David and Goliath. Now watch this, right? Now Goliath, he was a Philistine, right? Right? All right? For proof, let's go there before I do that, right? Let's get that out of the way. Samuel. All right, so 1 Samuel 17. We don't need to go to all of that. You all could go on. All right, let me see something here. All right, David accepts the challenge. I think I could read from here. 1 Samuel 17 and 20. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to fight and shouted for the battle, for Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. All right? And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, all right, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. All right, so I'm not going to go through all of that. I just want to draw a point here and show you the witchcraft and the iconoclasm and all these things of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, and to prove also that these people in the land are not the true Egyptians. Okay, these people in the land of Egypt I'm speaking about, right, are not the true Egyptians. So now we see in here that Goliath is a Philistine. Okay, now let's look at the depictions they have Goliath as. All right, images. Look at the depiction of friggin' Goliath. Yeah? Look at the depiction of Goliath. Watch. Watch. A freaking so-called white man. When Goliath was a tall, watch it, watch that. Watch that. Alright? The Philistines were Hamites. The Philistines are Hamites. Not were, are Hamites. Alright? So-called black people. So-called black people. Melanated skin, Negroid textured hair, whatnot, so forth. Broad nose, thick lips, and what have you, so forth. So forth. Alright? But look. Look at the depiction of Goliath. Alright? That's why the scriptures say, I will come to, although he is not a judge, but still, he's not a judge, but we're showing you the wickedness of these people. Alright? Job 9 and 24. Job 9 and 24, where it reads, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? You understand what I'm trying to point out here? Okay? We see in here, Goliath is a Philistine. Alright? Goliath is a Philistine who are the descendants of Mitzrayim, Matazarayim, alright, which was so-called black people, alright, and a matter of fact, the whole earth was so-called black people, alright. So-called white people started to come upon the scene after the birth of Esau because they are the descendants of Esau, alright. Ishashua, wasted away is he. His melanin, it is wasted away, alright. They have no melanin, okay, but watch. These people actually have the nerve. Now, watch this. This is the thing here. Alright? When you go through to Genesis, when you go back to Genesis chapter 10, going back to Genesis chapter 10, from verse 6, alright? Going all the way down to the sons of Canaan, alright, to the sons of Canaan, alright, from especially verse 15, going down to verse 20, the sons of Canaan, who were all so-called black people, alright, when you watch any biblical movie or anything like that, they have all these sons of Canaan as so-called white people. When the Canaanites, of antiquity, are so-called black people. That's why the scripture says, is it Psalms 58? Is it Psalms 58, I believe? Psalms 58. Yep. Psalms 58 and 1, I will start from 1. It reads, do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence in your hands, in the earth. Alright? The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Alright? These people are a bunch of liars. These Edomites are a bunch of liars. That is why I said, that is why our title is Just Admitted. Because he's speaking all that and whatnot, so forth, and talking about the erosion and this and that and the other and these people. All right, we get that. We get that. But come out and admit, who are the people, who are the true Egyptians? Come out and admit it. That is the point where I'm getting at. Come out and admit, who are the true Egyptians? Who are the true Canaanites? All right? Who are the people of Put? The true people of Put? Because watch it. If the what they call them, Watch the lies and the hypocrisy. Watch the lies and the hypocrisy. If these people, these Israelis over there, if they could call the Ethiopians Cush, and they know that they are Cushites, and the Ethiopians, they admit that they are Cushites, then how the hell, and the Ethiopians come from the lineage of Ham, then how the fuck the Egyptians could be so-called white fucking people? How? If the Ethiopians, if they could call the Ethiopians Cushi as a derogatory term, these Israelis, they call them Cushi, they call these Ethiopians Cushi as a derogatory term. And the word Cush means black. And the Cushites, they came from Ham. Then how could all the descendants, could all the descendants accepting the Cushites could be put forth as so-called white people? From the Egyptians go all the way to all the sons of Canaan. And Anne also put. Catch where I'm coming from? That's why when I go, that's why I'm gonna go to Proverbs. Isaiah chapter 25. Isaiah 25 and 7, where it reads, and he will destroy in this mountain. Let me see something here. Yeah, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all the nations, because this man has put a great covering cast, all right, over the people, that a lot of the people don't know who they truly are. All right? No, they don't know their true nationality. You understand? So at the same time, a lot of these hidden nations, they go really and truly know where they come from, but then at the same time, some of them, they don't know. All right? And then you have the situation where iconoclasm has taken hold. All right? Iconoclasm has taken hold, and people being pushed out of their lands and whatnot, so forth, because when Ptolemy came on the scene, all right, he started to whitewash. All right, he whitewashed. He learned the philosophies of the Egyptian gods and what have you, so forth, and paint and I can't remember which one of the gods. I think it was Isis, or I think it was either Isis or Horus, or one of them. All right, where he paint over. All right, and put the flower pot. Put the flower pot on the head and whatnot, and call it Serapis Christus. All right, and made a decree for the Egyptians to worship Serapis Christus. All right, and the Egyptians, they were well smart enough to respond to him that we are not going to worship that God, because that God looks like you. And it's not that you want us to worship that God, but you want us to worship you. All right? Because the Egyptians, all these nations, not just the Egyptians, but all these nations, when they take a look at all these nations, from the so-called East Indians, all right, the so-called Chinese, all right, these Africans and whatnot, so forth, so-called, all right, when they take a look at them and their gods, they create their gods, they depict their gods as in the likeness of their image, how they look. All right, how they look. All right, Buddha looks like who? Buddha looks like a so-called Chinese. All right, when you look at all these Elamite gods, those so-called East Indian, whether it be Shiva, whether it be Ganesh, whether it be Mother Lakshmi, what, they look just like these so-called East Indian people. All right, all these nations have a god that look just as them. So when Ptolemy came on the scene and bring forth this new god for them, which was actually a repackaged god by the way of iconoclasm, the people was like, no. All right, so he gave the decree that whosoever don't worship, they would have to die. All right, and what have you so forth. Hence the reason why they all end up fleeing and going deeper into the lower parts of Africa, which you know now today as Sudan. And the word Sudan is an Arab word which means black. All right? There's where it is here. Yeah, there's where it is here. And what did they do? What do they do besides the iconoclasm? All right? Besides the iconoclasm, what they do? The capital land, the thief lands, change landmarks, change the name of certain areas and this and that and the other and so forth. Yeah? Like for instance, West Asia, what they call it? The Middle East. When it's actually West Asia. That's why the scripture says in two scriptures for that, which is Proverbs 22 and 28. Proverbs 22 and 28, where it reads, all right, remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set. All right? In the NLT it says, don't cheat your neighbor by moving the ancient boundary markers set up by previous generations. And this is what Esau is guilty of. This is one of the charges that is against them. All right? Proverbs 23 and 10. Proverbs 23 and 10. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the field of the fatherless. All right? For their Redeemer is mighty, he shall plead their cause with thee. All right? This is where it is. And this is the things that they are guilty of. So just admitted Esau that the true Egyptians, all right, are the people of Sudan, which is so-called black people, all right, and the depiction of the Sphinx and whatnot, so forth, is actually a depiction of these people, South Sudan, all right, though committed halfway, committed all the way, all right. That's why I would leave with this scripture here, because I had to go and put myself, I had to get up early in the morning to go on the plantation, boy. Yeah, what your Goliath? Yeah, watch your Goliath. Yeah, watch your Goliath and watch David. Yeah, yeah, these fucking people, watch David. Watch fucking David and watch Goliath. You understand? These people, I tell you. Alright? Oh boy. I will leave with this scripture here. Alright, which is 2 Esdras 6:27. As it reads, for evil shall, 2 Esdras 6:27, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, the truth, which had been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And it is being declared. Alright, it is being declared. Through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So I hope you all are edified. Alright, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad, saying, Kal Halayam La Alahayana wa Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Ba'ashem Raka Kodash. Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai. Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai. Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. Alright. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled Israelites. Alright, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat. Until then, we say shalom, shalom, shalom.